program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Super Crow stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. From the Super Crowd, I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and I'm thrilled and excited to have you here. I really want to thank you, for watching. I just have to note, the audience is growing. I know some of you are new every week because the audience is growing so quickly. I want to welcome you to the Superpowers for Good show and hope you'll be back with us as we continue to grow. I am excited today. We've got an extraordinary guest with us. She's a powerhouse CEO with a company that manufactures dog food. She is brilliant. It's Carlson with Jiminy's, and this is more environmentally friendly dog food. You got to stick around. This is pretty amazing. This is going to be a great conversation. And welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
Oh, Devin, thank you. That was a very nice introduction.
Well, totally true and well-deserved. Give us a quick overview. Tell us about Jiminy's.
So at Jiminy's, we make sustainable dog food and treats. And what makes it sustainable is that instead of the traditional animal protein that you see in most dog foods, the cow, the chicken, we are using a novel protein. It is insect protein. And the insect protein is not only sustainable, but it is absolutely fantastic for your pets. It's a superfood.
It's amazing. It's been fun. I'm always about crowdfunding, and you recently completed a crowdfunding campaign on SMBX.
Yes.
It was exciting to see that succeed. Tell us a little bit about your experience. Now that that's in the past, a little bit in the rear view mirror, what did you learn? What would you tell our audience about that experience?
Well, it was definitely an experiment for us. We were looking at it as a way to raise working capital. And what I really did like about it is that it didn't take a lot of effort for us. However, having said that, what I would do differently if we were to do it again is actually put a little bit more effort in it from our side, boosting it on social media and making sure that people knew what we were doing. We let them handle it. That's how they approached us with it. But I do think that if you were, to post on LinkedIn and maybe post on other social media platforms, it would actually make it even more successful.
Yeah. It's almost axiomatic that you get a high correlation with the effort you put in on crowdfunding. But I'm glad that you were able to succeed to the extent you were.
Yeah.
With so little effort. That really says something, and that's exciting to hear. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Well, and I think it has a lot to do with the business, and the business is an exciting one, because it really is a game changer, and something that most people don't think about. And once they do hear about it, they realize, oh, wow, this is a really easy change that I can make in my life, and it has impact immediately. It's like flipping a switch. One day you're feeding your dog something that is more traditional and not sustainable. The next you're feeding Jiminy's, and all of a sudden, less land, less water, almost no greenhouse gases. It really is a difference.
It really is dramatic. And, it's a pretty significant claim that you make when you talk about the difference between what you're doing and ordinary conventional meat-based dog foods. And so I I had a great offer from our friends at Arbor, and they came to us and they said, "Listen, we can check, we can measure this objectively independently." And so they did an analysis for us and found that all in, they verified that you are in fact reducing the carbon footprint of the dog food, fully packaged, delivered to the house, right? All of that taken care of, all factored in. You're reducing carbon by about 20%. That's a pretty remarkable difference. Tell us about how, you know, the main thing is the insect protein, right? That's what's driving
Yes.
the difference.
Yeah, it really is. That is the game changer.
All this stuff.
And carbon is just one part of the picture. I mean, the carbon absolutely matters. And the insects, when you're raising them, they're, they are very different. They're not burping and farting, which, the cows are. Also, their waste doesn't have the same impact. However, the other two pieces of this that, don't show up in that carbon footprint or paw print, like we like to call it, is the land use and water use. And the land use is really different. If you've got an acre of land and you put chickens on it, at the end of a year, you're going to have 265 pounds of protein. But if you put crickets on that same land, you'll have 65,000 pounds of protein at the end of the year. It's super efficient. They are a naturally swarming species. They want to live together, and you can go vertical in the farming.
Wow. So there you could even get more than that on an acre if you went further vertical.
Absolutely. And the water usage is so much less as well, which is super important, a finite resource. And, that is going to be one of the first things that hits us as scarcity becomes more and more of a problem. So this is such a fantastic solution. And from a nutrition perspective, from a protein perspective, it is exactly the same as the beef or the chicken. All the amino acids that the dog needs in the right quantities, it's digestible, but then it goes way beyond. There's certain components within the insect protein, the medium chain fatty acids, antimicrobial peptides, and chitin that mean that it is solving all sorts of problems for the dogs. So dogs that have allergies, dogs that have gut health issues, it even boosts their immunity. So it extends their life. It's amazing. And it makes sense. It's a natural solution. If you look at wild dogs, it's a huge part of their diet. And there's a reason why it is, because it is just so incredibly great for them.
Let's acknowledge a certain problem here.
Okay.
Most humans think about insects as being a pretty gross sounding food. We're not very excited about this. But do dogs like it?
In the Western, because you got
That's true. In the Western world.
Yeah, there's over 2 billion people that it's part of their daily diet. But the dogs, they love it. That was actually the very first question that I had when I came up with this idea. I had seen the UN study, and so I ordered some dry roasted crickets online, tried feeding them to my dogs. My dogs started drooling immediately, but you actually don't have to trust them. A magazine article led with "My dog loves these cricket treats more than she loves me." And so the dogs absolutely love it. They don't overthink it. And, if it tastes good, they're in.
Yeah. That is just amazing. And you're right. Of course, a dog isn't going to overthink it. If it tastes good, he's going to eat it. End of story, right? So that's brilliant. How did you come up with this product?
Well, I actually used to work for one of the big pet food companies. And while I was there, I had a conversation with my daughter. And we were both at this moment in our lives where we were thinking about what might be next. And somehow we got onto the subject of children, and my daughter told me that she didn't want to have kids. She was worried about what the world was going to be like by the time they grew up, and she was talking about climate change. And I realized as we were talking that I had to do something different. Building a better future for her was everything. So I changed direction, and my pivot was to the insect protein. I saw the UN study that said insects could be the answer to world hunger, did the work with the dogs, and we were kind of off to the races at that point.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant. What a great story. As you think about the go forward here, it seems to me dog food is a pretty big space.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some traction. This isn't an idea. You are selling product, right? Consumers buy this stuff. Just give us a sense of your current scale and the plans. How big do you hope you can make this?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to grow as fast as we can. However, tempering that with being able to, as a business, break even, because that's so important, especially in today's economy, where you want to be able to control your own destiny. But we're doing a lot of things to bring people in to get that trial. Building awareness is so critically important. It's one of the reasons I'm so happy to be here. Every time we can introduce another consumer to this idea, the better off we are. And we've even done things like on our website, you can get a couple of free sample bags of our food because we want to get it in the dog's mouth. If you see how much your dogs love this food, you're going to be convinced. It's pretty exciting.
It really is exciting to think about. And I'm so grateful that you have made time for this conversation. We've got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Listen, folks, I'm here today with Ann Carlson, the CEO and founder of Jiminy's, a dog food company. And I hope you appreciate what an impressive human being and leader, CEO. She's just powerful, brilliant. So exciting to see what she's doing. Now, we're going to shift gears when we come back. Take a break now, but when we come back, we'll talk to her about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding, the book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy.
Ready to take your small business to the next level? Honeycomb Credit empowers diverse entrepreneurs by connecting you with community-driven funding. Build customer relationships, amplify your brand, and grow with those who believe in you. Honeycomb Credit, where your community invests in you.
Scan the QR code to start today.
Join the Impact Crowdfunding movement. Get Superpowers for Good, your free daily newsletter with exclusive video replays, a podcast, and the latest investment opportunities open to everyone. Join the super crowd. Scan now so you can learn to make money while you make a difference.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with Ann Carlson, the CEO and founder of Jiminy's, a dog food company. She's just, I couldn't be more impressed. She's just amazing. We're going to shift gears now to talk to Ann about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. And I look at what you've accomplished. And obviously, an extraordinary professional. You had a tremendous career, and you've launched a very successful business now. Just completed recently a successful crowdfunding campaign. You're a big deal. What is your superpower?
Boy, I don't know that I would ever say that I had truly a superpower. What I think I do have is when there is a problem, I have to solve it. In fact, people who know me, they know that if they want to manipulate me, they say, Ann, I'm trying to figure this thing out, and they'll tell me what it is, and I will not stop. I have to help and try to come up with an answer for it and a solution. And that's kind of what got me going on Jiminy's. My daughter telling me that she didn't want to have kids, that was the start for me of what I know is going to be a lifelong passion for fighting climate change and coming up with solution after solution, whatever I can do. But it also, when I think about things, I'm always sort of connecting dots as well, because there has to be a really good reason for what you're doing. So picking the right answer, and that's one of the things I just dig in, and I love research. I love the science, and I'm willing to do the work against that kind of thing. It's how we've figured out a lot of the different benefit areas in the insect protein is just by like digging in and just keep going. There's you have to kind of be resilient as well. You hit an obstacle. What is the next step? What can you do?
Well, that amazing ability to persist in solving problems is really one of the key differences, I think, between success and failure, right? And so I congratulate you. That's a big deal.
Oh, thank you.
I wonder if you can think of a very specific example, an anecdote that you could share about a time other than Jiminy's when you applied this principle to solve a problem. What do you think? Is there a time you can share?
Oh boy. Well, I guess kind of over and over in my life, I've taken on challenging jobs and challenging projects. And, let's see. I guess one of the key ones is a very personal one. Is a cabin that I took on in the Sierra foothills. And when I took it on, we purchased this cabin, and it was basically a shell. It had nothing there. And when looking at it, we're like, oh man, how are we going to make this thing actually livable? How are we going to, because we had hardly any money. And we wanted it to do in a way that it felt like it was ours. And so started looking around at like, what are the ways that we could actually build out this cabin and keep the costs under control, have it be something that we really loved. And then we had this idea that why not incorporate reuse and repurpose as part of it as well. So, I'm doing this in conjunction with my husband, but we found these places here in the Bay Area where they were remodeling houses and ripping out all of the old kitchens and bathrooms and remodeling. But everything that they ripped out of these old houses that were built in, like, say, the 1920s, they were beautifully constructed, old wooden construction. And we would go into these places where they had it all stored, and we would get like, say, 10 different cabinets for $10 each. And then we'd bring them to the cabin and then try to place them into the kitchen to build out the kitchen from scratch, from all of these different pieces that were being reused. And it's a very different kind of solution, but it was one that is really near and dear to my heart.
I love that story. That perfectly illustrates what you were talking about. I really appreciate that. Just really brilliantly. The reality is we do all want to learn how to do this better. And we may never be able to rise to the level of Ann Carlson in our ability to solve problems. But at the same time, we would like to learn how to do it better. No one is good enough at solving problems. So give us some tips. How do we become better problem solvers?
Well, I think it's about asking questions. You have to really dig in and ask question after question after question to really understand what really is the problem that you're trying to solve. Because the problem might be stated to you in one way, but it actually is something completely different when you start digging in. Or you find a workaround just because you ask those right questions. So to me, it's all about asking questions, listening, and then doing the research. It's hard work sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Those are great tips. I wonder if we could go just a level deeper. What else could you tell us about being better problem solvers?
Oh boy. Well, for me, it's like kind of being open to everything that you're reading, and sort of letting your mind go as you're thinking about these things. Honestly, coming back to the insect protein, when I was first working on Jiminy's, I had this idea that we could do better with the protein source that we were using in the dog food, but I didn't have an answer as to what we would use. And so I created this, of course, PowerPoint chart. This is what I do. And on one side, I had your traditional protein. On the other side, I had alternatives. And I was looking at plants. I was looking at mushrooms. I was looking at smaller animals, because the smaller the animal, the smaller the footprint. And when I did that, I was just throwing things on the page, and I threw an insect on the page. And once I had done that, I walked away from it, and then I would come back to it. And one of the times when I walked away, I was reading something else, and I stumbled across this UN study that said insects could be the answer to world hunger. And to me, that was like, my mind is working on the problem, but I'm open to like other things that are coming in. And sometimes you connect the dots, and it's a beautiful solution.
Do you ever use AI to help you in your problem solving these days?
I'm not so much in problem solving. What I do use AI, and I use AI probably on a daily basis, but it's more for helping to articulate whatever it is I'm trying to express. Because I do I do a lot of blog writing. I do a lot of actually I do writing for magazines as well, and I just got asked actually to work on a book. So I'm doing a lot of those types of things, but I'm also taking something that I might have written and creating a script so that I can talk to camera about it. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll use the AI to help me take something that I've written that might be kind of technical and make it easier for people to digest, or take something that's maybe like 3 pages long and say, how can I talk about that in just 1 minute? And it'll help me give me some ideas on how to do that. So that's typically how I do it.
That's great. That's great. Well, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. As we wrap up now, I wonder if you would take a minute and tell people how they can learn more about Jiminy's, how they can get Jiminy's, what stores are carrying it now, how to order it online, and give us some tips for connecting with you. I mean, obviously, you're a CEO, you're busy, I realize, but maybe you've got a process that that works for you to hear from people in a way that works. Tell us about how to connect with you, okay?
Well, for anything about the product, go to jiminys.com. It's right here on the screen, JIMINYS.com. And we actually have a section on the website now that is our content library. It's on the main menu. It says Learn. If you want to learn more about any of these topics, there's a blog post for that. And then, as far as reaching me, LinkedIn is great. You can reach me at LinkedIn. I'm Ann Carlson, and I'm pretty easy to find.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for making time for us today. we really want to wish you every success in this incredibly great work that you're doing. I just think it's wonderful and really want to see you succeed.
Well, thank you so much, Devin. Really appreciate it.
All righty. Now, let's do some good.